hunting over your own spread of decoys, it adds another dimension to the whole hunt. Every moment I had for my artwork is a stolen moment, you know. It just kind of flows out. And it's like getting into another world, you know, you forget about everything. When you get a block of wood like that, you look at it and you see, you know, you think about what you can get out of it, you know. And it's amazing to see what evolves out the block of wood. A plastic decoy is just a plastic decoy, but a wooden decoy has got a soul.
Get 'em.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting.
Welcome to the best of Ducks Unlimited TV. I'm Ashley Ward. In this episode and the next, we explore the world of decoy carving with two of the best at turning wood blocks into works of art. First, we head down to the Louisiana marsh country with Field Huddle, hunting with DU volunteer Mike Benge and decoy carver Cal Kingsmill. We take a closer look at Cal's shop and learn why he became a decoy carver. We also explore how DU and its partners are restoring habitat along the Gulf Coast. Coming up next on America's favorite waterfowling show, Ducks Unlimited TV.
As soon as you get there and he opens up the doors, everything is heavy equipment designed to take a beating. And then you turn the corner around these big trucks and you see this little corner where all the magic happens. There's blocks of Tupelo, there's paint cans, there's carving knives, there's wood shavings everywhere. In this massive shop of industrial, there's this little corner of awesome. Watching Cal forcefully shape these decoys, it reminds me of a lot of the work that we also see going on in these marshes, the restoration that DU does in these marshes. Right off the bat, it's very destructive. He's removing a lot of big chunks of wood. Every swipe he takes has a purpose, but in the end, you have something that's very beautiful, a work of art, and hunters across the country can enjoy on a daily basis. That's the exact same thing that DU does in our wetlands.
Decoy carving was one of the oldest folk arts there is, or art there is. You know, they have some Native American decoys that are over 1,000 years old. They found in some caves in Nevada, made with reeds and stuff, also with skins stretched on them, and they would float in the water. But when the Europeans came over, there was such an abundance of wildlife over here. You had a lot of carpenters and millwrights and really craftsmen that came over here, and they started fashioning them out of wood. The old carvers used cypress root, but the cypress root is not as good as it used to be with saltwater intrusion and everything. So I would say 99% of your carvers nowadays are using what they call Tupelo gum. It's a wet swamp wood, and you only use what is the bell, the bottom part of it. It's fine, it doesn't have much of a grain in it, and it's easy to carve with a knife. And also, if you get it real close to the water in the bell, it's very, very light. So you can make a bushel basket full of decoys. And
Hand-carved decoy designs have a purpose. We're in the marshes of Louisiana. These decoys are designed for calm water.
You know, if you go across the nation, you see like Illinois' river's got a certain style to fit their environment that they use that worked for them. You know, Louisiana has got a certain style. Our birds are skinny and narrow. On the other side of the river down towards the bayous and that had what's called bayou birds. And their birds have a more of a straight tail on it, whereas a river bird's got an upswept tail and a head that's down a little bit. And their personality slipped into the ducks when they were doing it, you know. And that's what fascinated, and I really got interested in it after that.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting. Mossy Oak Shadow Grass Blades, the official camo of Ducks Unlimited. Browning Firearms, the best there is. And by Ducks Unlimited's Ducks Expo at Texas Motor Speedway, celebrating everything outdoors.
I love working with my hands. And I also was intrigued by the painting on them. It wasn't really elaborate and it was simple, but yet when you get 20 yards away from the decoy, it would really look real. The old carvers, they got a lot of their wood off the river batch. It would float up in the spring. They would find a piece of wood that had a narrow piece and had an elongated tail, and then it would pop off, and man, that would be a nice pintail. Even though it wasn't realistic, it made a statement as being a pintail, and they would just shape that point on there and use that as a tail. Now, when I look at a bird like that, after studying the birds, I actually got it in my head what I want to do, you know. So I'll make a sketch on a block of wood like that, and then I'll start working it down.
So our first day, I was on sensory overload, hunting a marsh that I've never been in before. Right off the bat, boat rides. You know, I duck hunt out of a boat almost every day when I'm back home. So duck boats, that's my deal, it's what I love. So we're taking off through the marsh, heading to the blind, and it's a pretty long ride. And we get in the blind, we start getting stuff ready, the sun starts to barely peak light, and we're watching Cal, you know, set this amazing looking spread from a P-row boat. And right then and there, when I seen that P-row, you know, just the silhouette of Cal in that P-row, we're in South Louisiana. I mean, this is Louisiana duck hunting right here.
We are literally hunting just outside of one of the most famous cities in the world. People come here for all different reasons. They come here for po' boys, fresh seafood, red fishing, beignets, and most people come here for Mardi Gras, but you got it. We are in New Orleans, Louisiana, and we're here for the ducks.
Most of these carvers that came down here into this area came from around Davant, Louisiana, and they came in here, the hurricanes ran them out.
I've never heard Hurricane Katrina spoken so many times as I have in the last few days. It's not just a storm that hit here. They use it as a time reference.
Everybody gauges time now on Katrina. It's, you know, after Katrina, before Katrina.
Right in the decoys.
I tell people, you know, everybody says, get down, here comes some ducks, you know. When Teal come in, you say, get up, here they come. Because if you get down, you know.
The images from Katrina are burned in people's psyche. And some of us think that that's a relatively new phenomenon.
There's Teal up front.
They're coming back.
There's two. I was hoping that big group was going to come back.
Yeah, I thought the boss, they would come over a little bit further over.
Yeah.
But before Katrina, there was Betsy. And before Betsy, there was Audrey. The difference between, say, Katrina and Betsy, we didn't have 24-hour cable news network. We didn't have the video of the lines at the convention center, the Superdome roof blowing off, the helicopter rescues. It was a game changer.
It's literally burned in my mind what happened when I am getting ready to shoot over custom handmade decoys. These teal came in, I pull up, and I'm sitting here watching these teal fly over these almost priceless custom handmade decoys. The whole time I'm tracking these teal, and all I'm picturing is how long it took to make them, how much they're worth.
Don't want to shoot your decoys. I'm always conscious. I don't like shooting decoys, but this time, normally I'm just like, all right, get him. But then I'm like, all I see are very expensive decoys. That was cool.
It seems hard to believe, but it's been 15 years since Hurricane Katrina made landfall, leaving record devastation in her wake. People affected by the storm's wrath still gauge life events by that massive storm, referring to moments as before or after Katrina. Coastal Louisiana wetlands hit by Katrina have been recovering ever since, and DU has been there every step of the way. Since launching its U.S. conservation program in 1985, Ducks Unlimited has restored thousands of acres of coastal Louisiana marsh. Our dedication to saving this vital wintering habitat has not wavered through many disasters, both natural and man-made. River levees, shipping and oil exploration canals, storms, water shortages, urban encroachment, and of course the Deepwater Horizon oil spill have all taken a toll. In Louisiana, Ducks Unlimited is restoring and enhancing key public and private environments along with federal and state partners, conserving over 497,000 acres of waterfowl habitat so far. DU is increasing the ability of these wetlands to mitigate flood damage and improve water quality while providing benefits for waterfowl, wildlife, fish, and people. To find out how you can help DU restore the Louisiana marsh, visit ducks.org.
DU Insights is brought to you by Mossy Oak Properties. Find your favorite place at mossyoakproperties.com. DUTV is powered by Browning Ammunition, the best there is. Mossy Oak Properties, America's land specialist. Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. And Plano Synergy and Zinc Calls, a champion in every call.
I have a special appreciation for Cal because I found out that he's a Vietnam veteran. My dad was a Vietnam veteran, and he was over in Vietnam the same time period that my dad was. Cal told us a story that was really cool. He brought out a letter that was written home from his uncle in World War II.
September 7th, 1944. Dear Eddie, received your second package today and certainly was glad to get it. Thanks a million. Yes, Ed, I remember when we were out on the point and used the number 2 shots on the ducks. That was a lot of fun. Remember out on the Claremont Harbor Wharf when we had the decoys out? You, Earl, and I.
Well, you know, duck hunting goes back in my family a long time with my father and my other relatives. And it's from my uncle, Cal Kingsmill, who I'm named after. And he's talking about duck season and the kind of decoys he's going to have for duck season.
He literally said carving is basically like therapy. And you can tell as soon as he swings that mount and the first chip flies off, he's in another world.
And when I was overseas in Vietnam, which really was a surprise to me, finding out that they had pintails in the rice paddies, you know. When I got back home, I had to break out my first bird book and find out what the range of a pintail was, and it did say Southeast Asia.
Good shot.
Well, this morning we're hunting over about 44 or 45 hand-carved decoys.
Wow. How many hours in each decoy, roughly?
The most I've ever made in a year was like about 35.
35 in a year.
In a year.
Traditionally, when I look at a hand-carved decoy, it's sitting on a shelf and it's just one. You know, but here, they're floating in the water. We just shot ducks over them.
Cal is an artist and he's a decoy carver, but bottom line, he's a duck hunter. He loves creating decoys that people will use.
Still my turn, let's see. They might come back around again.
Take them.
A ringneck, I think.
They were honest and fast.
Oh, you ain't lying. My father had some old decoys that a fellow by the name of Charles Joe Fro made, who lived in the neighborhood here. We hunted with those decoys up until around 1970 is when Charles Frank came out with his book, Louisiana Duck Decoys. And when that book was published, we started looking at it, and sure enough, they had Charlie Joe Fro's decoys in there. You know, it's funny when you make wooden decoys, and you know, when you're picking them up after hunting, you look at them and say, most people say, oh, this one's got a scratch. And I say, wow, man, that dent looks good, and that it's starting to look good. You know, it's got some wear. You know, oh, it's got a little crack coming out here.
Yeah, that's right.
It's starting to get a little character to it, you know.
Well, last night y'all were going through each one, and you're telling about, oh yeah, that was when it got hung up in the prop, and you see the prop mark, and every dent and nick has a story behind it. Yes, put it up on the shelf and admire it, but he wants you to put it in the boat, set it out in the water, and shoot ducks over it. These decoys are working hunting decoys. Now, what's your favorite duck, Cal?
I'm gonna tell you what I like. I like a mallard hen. You know?
Mallard hen.
The old hen coming by, and she got 2 drakes found, you know, and you hit her with the call, you know, and she turns around and she hits you like, but she ain't got no intentions of coming. She's gone, you know. Those drakes are going behind it, you know. She got personality, you know.
She does. Yep. Wow. Never, if you would have said what duck, I never would have imagined them been the hen mallard. You know, she never gets the attention she deserves, you know. But yet you're painting all the feather detail.
Yeah, scratching it.
Yeah, absolutely. Cal spends countless hours creating these decoys that sell at auction at DU events.
Well, usually on the bottom of my decoys, I carve a CK in it. And also, some of the ones I donate for DU, you'll find a sketch of the species of the duck. If it's a gray duck or a gadwall, kind of dresses it up a little bit, puts a little extra flavor in it, you know.
And that money goes back into wetlands, just like the ones we've been hunting. And this is something that everyone gets to enjoy.
The degradation of the coastal Louisiana is hurting the migration. Across the coast, as my good friend Wade Bourne used to say, bless his soul, you know, more habitat on the ground means more ducks in the sky. We've got to connect this river back to this marsh. This river is what built this marsh from Carnarvon, primarily water that's sediment laden. So once we build this project, we can continue to grow it. We've got to connect this river back to this marsh.
DUTV is brought to you by Native Nurseries, hand-selected, hand-grown plants for wildlife. Higdon Outdoors. Quality, customer service, innovation. That's Higdon. Biologic. Scientifically proven wildlife products. Closed captioning for Ducks Unlimited Television is brought to you by Mossy Oak Bottomland, the official timber pattern of Ducks Unlimited.
Today I want to talk about follow-through. We can all agree that follow-through is very important, but not everybody agrees on what follow-through with a shotgun should be. What a lot of people want to do, and take a big swing after the shot, follow through that way. To me, follow-through is keeping your eyes on the target, keeping the gun on your face until after the target breaks. As long as your eyes are in the right place, the gun will go to the right place, and you don't need to make a big move, big swing afterwards. That is a bad road to go down. Sooner or later, you start pulling the gun off your face, you start swinging too fast, you're not really in control of the target. All you need to do is put the gun in front of the bird, keep your eye on the target, keep your head on the gun until after the bird falls.
My grandfather, he was in World War II. Cal's uncle was in World War II. He brought out a letter, and the story he told us gave me goosebumps.
Ed, I wrote and told Mom instead of getting me something for Christmas and my birthday and sending it to me, just to buy me 8 good decoys and keep them for me. I do not need anything now, and I will have to get the decoys sooner or later. What do you think of that? Ed, don't worry about giving me anything for Christmas or my birthday, because I do not want anything.
A week later, he was killed in action in Italy. But that's just goes to show you, he's a guy in World War II he's thinking about duck hunting and decoys.
Immediately, Cal jumps in the P-row and he paddles out and he starts setting decoys. It's like stepping back in time, using handmade decoys, setting them by hand in a P-row.
I got a P-row hanging right outside the shed here that my wife and I paddled out in this P-row to I-610 and to get up on the interstate to get out of here.
It is another beautiful morning in New Orleans, Louisiana. This place is awesome. Awesome people, phenomenal food, and a gorgeous marsh. Hopefully this wind will pick up here in a little bit. We've seen a few ducks mill around, but hey, we're duck hunting in New Orleans, Louisiana. When the sun came up and the light hit those custom handmade decoys, it was amazing. But to be able to sit in the blind with the creator of those decoys, that was nothing short of incredible. Oh, here they come, right on the right, right on the right. Take them.
The way I look at it, if you got a lease, you have a boat, you have 2 or 3 dozen decoys, you have 2 or 3 shotguns, a shell bucket, a Labrador retriever. You've got an investment in this resource. You've got an investment in this sport. Me personally, I couldn't be in the marsh enjoying what we did, what we do, if I didn't feel like I was putting something back in.
Waterfowl hunters, it's a bucket list thing that you want to hunt over a hand-carved spread. They look completely different, they move different. It's just one of those things, figure out a way to do it. Figure out a way to hunt over a hand-carved spread. It's something you gotta do.
I've established a little, kind of like a little carving shop, you know, where I make all my ducks and stuff like that. And one minute I'll be working in the front on the truck, and the next minute I'll be working on the duck in the back if I can steal away, you know. Every moment I had for my artwork is a stolen moment.
Cal Kingsmill's carving style is fading. He's one of the last Creole trained carvers. He's also a military veteran, a longtime supporter of Ducks Unlimited fundraising, and his decoys are part of a rich waterfowling history that's worth preserving. Thanks again for watching and supporting Ducks Unlimited. Tune in next week for another great episode of DUTV.